Hello everyone, welcome back. Welcome back. This is a game 9 of the World Championship match between Grandmaster Gukesh from India and Ding Liren from China. The score is 4 and 4 after game 8. So let's start the game 9. Gukesh, Gukesh opens with the move to d4. Ding responds with knight to f6, c4, e6, g3, bishop to b4, check, bishop to d2, bishop back to the e7, bishop to g2, d5, knight f3, castle, castle. Here we get queen's gambit decline, Catalan opening. Now the c6, queen to c2, knight to bd7, rook to d1, nice developing move, bringing rook in the center and waiting against the queen. b6, bishop to c3. In this position, the position was never played, so this is a completely new game. And now bishop to b7 played by Ding Liren. Here bishop to a6 is also possible. After bishop to a6, let's say you play knight to d2. Now you are losing a pawn here, and it is good for black, so you have to play here b3. Let's say after b3 you capture the pawn, and now b takes c4, bishop takes pawn, knight to e5, bishop to d5, now e4, knight takes knight, pawn takes bishop, knight back to the g6, and just simply pawn takes on the e6, pawn takes pawn. In this variation, white is simply better as his pawn is isolated, his pawn is falling, and it has and also it can be a passer in the long run. So Ding Liren plays bishop to b7, and now simply knight to d2, queen to c7, rook to c1. Nice developing move, and also the queen is under fire in some variations. So now rook to dd8, nice developing move. Now the b4. This b4 increases the tension of the queen side, as black next move is to push the pawn to the c5 and liquidate the center. So Gukesh plays the move b4 to keep the tension here. So Ding thought about here around 20 minutes, and he plays c5 anyway. After c5, b takes c5 plus you can also capture with the d pawn. Both are completely fine. Now just simply d takes c5. Now the queen to the b2, landing the bishop against this queen and bishop against this diagonal. Sorry for this, queen and bishop in this diagonal after some variations. Also bishop b2 is under fire after rook to the b1, and now Ding has many options here. So he chooses knight to the b6. Here going to the b6 is also fine, it maintains the equality also, but Ding chooses knight to b6. Now bishop to a4, pinning the knight. Here pawn takes pawn has been played, and knight takes pawn is played. Here the move Ding plays is bishop takes knight f3, but I'm going to show you another variations because I find it very interesting. Let's say if you capture the knight, and now you capture the queen, knight captures queen, bishop takes rook, rook takes bishop, rook to d2, bishop takes f3, bishop takes knight f3, and just simply rook takes knight, bishop takes bishop, and now king takes bishop. In this position, the black has two minor pieces for rook, and white has a two rook. This position is slightly better for black, and black can have advantage against the once the rook are exchanged, as his bishop can lock here, and his pawn can be under attack if in case of moving. So rook takes, and just takes. So it is a better position for black. So instead there is another variation. So you have to capture. Here you have to capture. You don't capture the bishop with the queen. You capture rook with the knight, and now just simply bishop takes a5, queen takes bishop, knight d2. That's it. Here the white and black both have two rooks and two minor pieces, and his position is equal. So in any case, if you are those who play, if you got intimidated, okay, I can take my opponent queen and I take the rook of my opponents and I will be winning. So first of all, for the chess, you always remember that two minor pieces is always better than a single rook. And in close position, the minor pieces are always outplayed rook if the rook doesn't have the open files. And after rook exchange, the minor piece is always better. So whenever you capturing this long line, that you wanted to take the queens, then rook, then you always must have to remember that whether you are giving up two minor pieces or you're simply winning an exchange, you have to carefully calculate it, because if you are okay in some position, two rooks are better than the one rook and two minor pieces, or rook is better than two minor pieces, but this is not the position. That's why Gukesh, okay, this line doesn't happen on the board, but you have to always careful about exchanging the rook for two minor pieces. So in the game, bishop takes, so in the game, bishop captures knight, bishop takes knight, and just simply pawn takes bishop, bishop takes bishop, and rook to a6 is played as his bishop is hitting the rook, and now queen to the b5 hitting the rook, and now just simply rook captures pawn, knight takes pawn, queen to a7, and now just simply, this is a very tricky move. Queen to b2 is such a tricky move played by the Gukesh. It's a devilish trick. Those who are new to the chess, if you are thinking that okay, I can capture this pawn and I am a pawn up, then you are wrong, because after c takes c4, there is a knight to the c8 is played, and now both your queen and the bishop is under fire, and you cannot save both the pieces. So you are losing. So therefore Ding plays rook to b8, pinning the queen after the knight, and now knight is under fire. So you have to capture the pawn. Now the pawn protects the knight, and now just simply rook to a6, bringing another attacker to the knight, and just simply queen to the b5, protecting this pawn, and now just simply pawn takes pawn, and just simply queen takes bishop, and now queen takes knight, queen takes queen, rook takes queen, and it's just simply Gukesh exchange rook, and it's just simply an equal position as the rook and knight and rook and bishop with the same pawn on the same side is always a draw. You cannot win this unless someone blindly blunder a piece. So therefore g5 is played to prevent the h4, g2, king to g2, rook to the b2 attacking the pawn, and now just simply king to the f1, king to g7, h3, h5, rook to a1, rook to c2 attacking the bishop, bishop to b5, rook to the c5 hitting the bishop, and now just simply bishop to d3, knight to d7, f4, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, and just simply rook to the c3, king to the f2, knight to c5, king to e3, knight takes bishop, pawn takes knight, and just simply, okay, let's say both white and black have 3 pawns, but black 2 pawns are connected, but and white 3 pawns are isolated. Okay, even if in this position, this is a draw position, because if these 2 pawns are extended and the king is on the h1, this position is a draw. As to pawn, h pawn is absolutely a draw if the king can reach to the h1 or h8. If in case of white pawn, the black king should be on the h8, and in case of the black pawn, white king must be on a h8. So and this is the same case. So king to the f3. So basically Gukesh had the centralizing of the king, and it can protect this pawn, and it can also protect this pawn, and also protect this pawn, and also it can come here. So just simply rook to d3, and now just simply rook to a3, protecting the pawn, king to the g6, another waiting move by Gukesh, and just simply pawn move, and just simply king to the f5, and now rook checks, and simply f5. Okay, here if you thinking that okay, I will play this, but okay, it's still a draw, because you cannot win one of these pawns, and whenever this pawn forward, it's simply an exchange up. So instead of this, since tomorrow is a rest day and the position is always a draw, Ding Liren is not a player who plays the position. If Ding thinks the position is draw, the position is draw. He don't press that position unless he only presses that position if he thinks he has a winning chance or winning advantage. Even if the engine is saying the Ding is winning, and Ding doesn't think itself that he is winning. He doesn't push this position, as he simply does not like to waste energy on the position which is simply a dead draw. So instead of after king to f5 check, Ding simply pushes the pawn. Now pawn takes pawn, rook takes pawn, and just simply king to d3, hitting the rook. Rook takes pawn, and just simply pawn takes pawn, and now this is a draw. King to the f2, pawn to the h4, king to the g2, rook g3 check, king to h2, king to g6, rook to b6, and now simply Ding offers the rook, as this position is a draw. So Gukesh accepts it, and now just simply a draw. In the game, Ding Liren gives the pawn, okay, and the game ends in a draw. Okay, let's see. These are for my viewers who are new to the chess and who doesn't know how it's a draw and why Ding give up the pawn. This is only for those who are the beginners to the chess. Let's say here you play king to h3, you play this, and now you just simply come back here, pawn here and here. Okay, my internet is lagging. Now it's just simply h3 check, and now just simply you go here, and just simply you have to move. Let's say we come here, and now just simply after this the king is a stalemate, as king is in a stalemate, as king is not in a check. Also king doesn't have any legal moves, and stalemate is a draw according to FIDE rules. So that's why Ding gave up the pawn. So guys, the score is 4.5 to 4.5, and tomorrow is the rest day. So they will come back on Saturday, where the Ding has a white pieces and Gukesh has a black pieces. Okay, so let's see what is Ding brings up any new idea or what he has in his stores. Thank you guys.